Hey, how's it going today? Benny's Garage here on a cold January day. Just wanted to show you guys what I found on an Isuzu oil leak. And yeah, take you along for the ride. As you can see on my concrete pad, there's a nice size puddle. Oil colored stained for concrete enjoyment. And that is from this guy. This is a 2013 Isuzu NRR little reefer straight truck for the local cheese curd factory here in town. We'll pop this cab and show you what I found here. So down by the oil filter assembly, I got a bucket under here draining just because it's making a mess and I don't want it to leak on my floor any more than I can help it. But if you look up there, see that little banjo bolt? Put my finger on it here so you can see. Put a wrench on it and it did not tighten up, it just spun. Spun. So when I pulled it out and cleaned it off, I found the threads stripped on it. I don't know if you can see or not, but if you look close, you can see the threads pulled from that. And that come from the housing. So we'll spin this filter off. It needs an oil change anyway. And then looks like there's a couple bolts on the block that hold it on and an O-ring behind it. We'll get a new one and make sure there's no updates. See if we can get her fixed up. Alright, this is what I found here. So, it's hard to get in here and do this stuff with the camera, but this is the old one. Alright? And that hole right there is an oil pressure sender hole, threaded. On the back side, see the O-rings? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 mounting bolts. I'll show you on the truck here a little bit better if I can get in here. So this one, there's the oil pressure sender. This mounting bolt is just a through bolt, not used. There's one up here. One down here, and there's a tricky one way up there. That is a stud with a nut. Okay, so there's your 4. And this is a 10mm. I'm sorry, I fibbed. It's an 8mm Allen for these bolts. And they're in there pretty good. No washers. That one up on top, that nut, is a 14mm. The bolt thread is 1.5. It's a 10mm bolt. So that one on top, that's an Allen on the end of that stud. An Allen socket will fit on there. But when you spin that 14mm out, that stud came out. The nut backed off a little bit and then the stud came out all the way from the block, which was good because I didn't have to mess with this banjo bolt assembly right here. Oh, right here. So these lines are rigid, they're steel. And that's one assembly. So I could just slip that filter housing straight down and out of there. And put new O-rings on And yeah, so what happened is this stripped. You see the threads in there? It's smooth on the end. I don't know, you can't really tell, it's hard to see here, but I can spray that off and show you better. But that banjo bolt is steel. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure everybody in mechanic land knows what they are, but banjo bolt is hollow. Got a hole through it and a hole on the side. Oh, not focusing. And that just helps fluid, or I should say allows fluid to flow from in here and out through those lines. So these bolts are not as strong as a normal bolt, obviously, because they're hollow, to allow fluid through there. And yeah, so I went to tighten that. I went to tighten this bolt, this banjo bolt right here, and that's what just kept turning. It stripped out that, this housing's aluminum. So got a new bolt. The new bolt's longer, so it can engage more thread. And a new housing. New O-rings. And cleaned everything up, put back together. New filter, new oil. Since it's here for an oil change, good time to do it. It all worked out great. So, thank you for coming along. All right, here's the little better picture of this. But you can see where the threads are kind of missing there at the start of the face of that machine surface. Those threads on the new one were all the way to the end, obviously. Thought about a helicoil, but then you have that machine surface for the washer. So I choose not to. I don't want to take that chance on the oil pressure system. Here's that other focus. Come on. Here's the other, sorry about that, home for the oil pressure sender. Couple O-rings. Anyway, that's that deal. Just thought I'd enlighten you on this fuel filter system. So this is the water separator, and there's paint on there. It's not muck in there. I cleaned it out when I changed the filter, but anyway, that is from the water separator. And that one, I feel like people miss or choose not to change it because it's buried, sort of. But that piece is on the engine, right up in there. So I think a lot of people just change this one out here, call it good, and they don't do that one, but that's actually a steel canister filter for the fuel system. Anyway, we'll get the oil in this thing and start it up, see what happens. Check for leaks. Hey, just wanted to mention before I forget, got the filter on there. There's that canister one inside there. That banjo bolt on that little filter head assembly, that is a 10 millimeter 1.25 thread. And in case you're wondering, here is the water separator element. And this guy is the element for that internal one. If you get them from the dealer, they come with O-rings you need to replace. Both of them have several. So, all right, folks, let's get in here and see what we got. I sprayed a little brake clean, and the $5 filter did not take that well for the paint, but anyway. Looks good, no leaks. Let's see if I can get under here by the block. high as a popcorn fart. I like it. I like it. Hey, one other thing I wanted to show you guys. This thing did not start well outside. Had it plugged in. Anyway, doing a little investigating. I found this guy off. So we're going to test that block heater in there. You can see it in there. Make sure that's good. And we'll get this cord back on, and that'll make it start a whole lot easier in the winter salt belt weather. As you can see, some of the stuff that we have to work on, what the salt involves. So anyway, just thought I'd let you know. Take a close look. Sometimes hard start can be something easy.